Hello to honest viewers of Jonathan John Villaria's World Emporium. I'm Jonathan John Villaria, and absolutely thrilled to share with you how we can expand our understanding of the world through the English language. Our videos encompass a diverse range of topics such as literature, philosophy, history, astronomy, biology, and more, offering a comprehensive and enriching learning experience. Whether you're new to our channel or a seasoned learner, our carefully curated videos are designed to captivate and enlighten, empowering you to elevate your language skills. Michelangelo was a real jack of all trades of the Italian Renaissance era, earning himself the title of Renaissance man alongside Leonardo da Vinci. With his uncanny creative flair, Michelangelo mastered a range of artistic skills from painting, sculpting, architecture, poetry, to engineering. His masterpieces include the world-renowned Pieta and the David, both of which he completed before he hit 30. At the ripe age of 74, he painstakingly continued perfecting the construction of the St. Peter's Basilica after Antonio da San Gallo's demise, implementing countless modifications to ensure that it was nothing short of perfect. Michelangelo was born and bred in Tuscany on March 6, 1475. His family had been small-time bankers in Florence for generations, but his father faced a financial downfall, causing them to lose their footing in the banking and government sectors. When Michelangelo was born, his family was living in a small town, and his father worked as a legal clerk there. At the young age of 13, Michelangelo was taken under the wing of the painter Domenico Ghirlandaio as an apprentice. By 15, he was studying sculpture under Bertoldo di Giovanni, paving his way towards becoming a legendary artist. Michelangelo's persona was notorious for his arrogance and self-dissatisfaction, viewed as a wellspring of inner inspiration and cultural influence. In contrast to his rival, Leonardo da Vinci, he saw nature as an adversary to be conquered. In sculpture, Michelangelo's oeuvre was deemed entirely liberated and shaped by pre-existing forms in the stone. He subscribed to the belief that every block of stone embodied a sculptural work, and the sculptor's duties was to chip away the excess to unveil the artwork concealed within. In his private life, Michelangelo was a man of simplicity, frugality, exhibiting no fascination for haute cuisine and consuming only enough to meet his bare necessities. He was also known to dress plainly in his old garments. This habit contributed to his reputation as an eccentric and melancholic figure who kept his distance from society. Michelangelo's masterpiece, the sculpture David, completed in 1504, stands as a pinnacle of the Renaissance era. The depiction of the young and confident David showcases his lifelike musculature and veins, capturing his intense gaze before the battle with Goliath. There are a few peculiarities in the work that often arouse curiosity, such as the small size of David's flowers and his uncircumcised foreskin, which seemingly contradicts his Jewish identity, where circumcision is customary. The rationale for this could be traced to the Renaissance era, where petite flowers was deemed aesthetically pleasing. Therefore, Michelangelo sculpted David's penis to align with the contemporary standards of ideal physical beauty. As for the foreskin, some scholars postulated that Michelangelo adhered to the Greek style of sculpture, where circumcision was not prevalent. Despite the Pope's modest request for a mere depiction of the 12 apostles of Jesus, Michelangelo's aim for a much grander scheme. He embarked on a colossal project depicted to illustrate various scenes from the Bible with a staggering cast of 43 characters, a remarkable depiction of 9 key events from the book of Revelation. These events are categorized into 3 main sections: God's creation of the world, God's creation of mankind and their downfall from grace, and ultimately humanity's fate as exemplified by Noah and his king. On the triangular brackets of the ceiling, Michelangelo carefully painted 12 individuals who prophesied the arrival of Jesus Christ. The crowd consisted of 7 prophetic figures from Israel and 5 ancient symbols reveal female oracles of the past. In addition to his well-known masterpieces like the creation of Adam of Eve in the Garden of Eden, the Great Flood, Michelangelo's magnificent paintings in the Sistine Chapel encompass other notable subjects as well. The genealogy of Jesus Christ is represented around the windows, which includes Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Judah, Perez, Hezron, Ram, Aminadab, Nahshon, Salmon, Boaz, and Obed. The most prominent scenes comprise the separation of light from darkness, the creation of the sun and moon and plants, the division of land and water, the first man and woman on earth, the Garden of Eden, Noah's sacrifice, the Great Flood, and the sons of Noah. As the famous prophet goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Likewise, Michelangelo's arduous journey in creating his exceptional frescoes in the Sistine Chapel was not a small feat, but rather an epic endeavor that would be immortalized in history. With great care, Michelangelo hand-picked 7 male prophets from the Old Testament to include Jonah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Joel, Zechariah, Isaiah, and Daniel. These biblical figures are well known and their stories are fascinating. Jonah, who was afraid to deliver bad news to his people, tried to flee and ended up being swallowed by a massive fish for 3 days and nights. Jeremiah shed tears as he prophesied the destruction of Jerusalem. Ezekiel also foresaw the complete ruin of Jerusalem, but he predicted that Israel would be restored. Joel implored people to confess their sins. Zechariah prophesied that the King of Peace, Jesus, would enter Jerusalem on the donkey. Isaiah predicted the suffering of Jesus. Daniel, famous for interpreting the dreams of kings, was thrown into a den of lions, but miraculously escaped unharmed. Each prophet's tale is unique and spellbinding, highlighting the diversity of characters and themes in the Old Testament. The Sibyls, the lesser-known female prophets of the ancient Greece and Rome, were named after the location of the temples or shrines where they made their prophecies. These powerful women included the Erythrean Sibyl, the Persian Sibyl, the Libyan Sibyl, the Cumaean Sibyl, and the Delphic Sibyl. The Erythrean Sibyl, in the small town of Erythrae in Ionia, on the western coast of Turkey, predicted the oracle of the god Apollo. She foretold the Trojan War and the Iliad, and accurately described the appearance of Jesus Christ. Her prophetic powers were astounding. The Persian Sibyl, located in northern Africa, predicted the great Alexander the Great's conquests. She had a strong institution and her predictions were always spot on. The Libyan Sibyl gave predictions about the prophecies of the god Zeus Ammon in the Libyan deserts. Her insights were profound, and she was known for being an excellent visionary. The Cumaean Sibyl presided over the Temple of Apollo in Cumae, near Naples, Italy. she had an enigmatic quality that made her prophecies more intriguing. The Delphic Zipper made her prophecies at the famous temple in Delphi, Greece. She had an aura of mystery that surrounded her prophecies, making them even more compelling. Michelangelo's ceiling painting of the Sistine Chapel was an incredible feat of artistry. The process was grueling, with the author struggling to paint on the ceiling nearly 20 meters high and enduring the smell of toxic oil paint. Michelangelo's health was also affected, and he had to overcome many obstacles during the process of completing this artwork. And the saying goes, no great thing is created suddenly. Michelangelo's masterpiece was a result of intense labor, dedication, and perseverance. Michelangelo's final masterpiece in Rome was the iconic fresco, The Last Judgment. Adorning the Sistine Chapel throughout the wall, the commission was adored by Pope Clement VII, who had a premonition of his death. Unfortunately, the project met with opposition and criticism from some clergy members and ambassadors from Mantua who found the nudity in the painting vulgar and offensive. Nevertheless, the Pope stood firm, and Michelangelo completed the work in 1541. Sadly, after Michelangelo's passing, prudish norm led to the painting's genitalia being curved up, erasing its original, essential form. It was only in 1993 that the painting was restored to its true artistic vision. Censorship haunted Michelangelo throughout his life, earning him the infamous reputation of the inventor of obscenities during the Counter-Reformation campaign to veil nudity in art and sculpture were rampant, and Michelangelo's works was not exempt. For example, the Cristo della Minerva statue in Rome, Santa Maria sopra Minerva's church, was covered with a cloth, and the naked Jesus in the manner of Bruges statue at the Church of Our Lady in Belgium was also hiding from view for decades. Even the Plaza Castle David at London's Victoria and Albert Museum was equipped with a fake leaf in the box behind the statue to conceal its genitals whenever female royalty paid a visit. And famous adage goes, art is not what you see, but what you make others see. Michelangelo's art continue to inspire to and provoke discussion to this day, proving that censorship cannot silence creativity. In conclusion, Michelangelo's impact on the world of art is immeasurable. His works continue to inspire and all audiences around the globe. Centuries after that creation, his artistic vision and telling were ahead of his time, and his legacy has left an indelible mark on the history of art. Michelangelo's dedication to his craft and his ability to innovate and push boundaries serve as an inspiration to artists of our generations. He will forever be remembered as one of the greatest artists to have ever lived, and his contribution to the world of art will continue to be celebrated for generations to come. I deeply appreciate your presence in this episode. Your questions, comments, and feedback are incredibly valuable, so please do not hesitate to share them in the comment section below. Remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you won't miss any very captivating and thought-provoking episodes. By enabling notifications, you can stay updated with our latest content. Please feel free to share our channel with your friends and family who may find our informative videos beneficial. We are dedicated to providing you with high quality, thoroughly research and engaging content that will enhance your English language proficiency and broaden your knowledge. I eagerly anticipate sharing more enlightening and inspiring content with you in the near future.